One of the things when I'm building data models is that I'm absolutely pedantic about trying to reduce the file size as much as possible. Now, why is that? Well, it comes down to performance, right? The more that your data is lean and mean and isn't carrying extra, the faster things are going to go because it's not trying to slice through, calculate, and iterate through all of the irrelevant items that are there. So I actually take an approach to this, which is extremely jealous of memory as far as a Power Pivot data model goes. And I wanted to figure out what is the fastest way that I can narrow down on the items to get rid of, but also to see their impact, because sometimes just changing a data type can have a massive impact on how much data your Vertipack engine is actually using. So there are routines out there in order to be able to generate this information if you go and look hard enough, but I don't know of any tool that makes this as easy to use as Monkey Tools, at least to be able to interpret it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over to Monkey Tools here. We're going to go to Model Sleuth, and we're going to run a model memory usage report. And we're just going to click on that, and you can see that, boom, it creates a pivot table right off the bat. And it becomes very obvious here via the data bars. The sales table right here is storing the largest part of memory that is impacting my model. And the first thing that I want you to recognize, though, is that that's not the part that concerns me. If it's in use, which is what it is here, then that's cool. That means that it's actually got a reason for living. The stuff that concerns me is actually what's going on over here. And you think, oh, okay, Ken, come on, really? I mean, you've got 1,800 kilobytes of memory that's being used. You've got 151 that isn't. Fair enough. But why do I have it at all? I'm not really a big believer in the just-in-case modeling. I would prefer to make sure that everything in my model has value. So I want to show you some interesting things about this, right? Because if we open up sales, for example, we get the breakdown from each of these columns as to what's going on. Notice our dates are taking the majority of the stuff that we have. There's 1,802 unique values that are contributing to 630 kilobytes of memory. We've got a whole number for item ID, 1,246 items, 450 kilobytes. Fair enough. We've got even more decimal numbers, which is actually taking a little bit less space, so that's kind of interesting there. We've got some whole numbers that are almost nothing, decimal numbers and whatnot. So these are all numeric formats, which is why they actually compress down really well for the most part. If I go and take a look at calendar, though, what we can see over here is I've got 7 text items that are taking 17 kilobytes. And now, just by a really quick comparison, notice that we've got 269 decimal numbers that take less. Text do not compress efficiently. So this tells me a little bit about just on the data type. Now, of course, day short is things like MON, TUE, WED. So obviously can't make that numeric, so that's fine. But the fact that it's in the recoverable column means that this isn't actually being used at all anyway. So I'm carrying this data for no apparent reason. And I might want to get rid of it and rerun this report and see if I can make my model a little bit more lean, mean, and efficient with less data in play. If you want to get really geeky with this, you can also go and crack this open to see what the difference is between hash and encoded values. I'm not going to really worry about that. This is like high-level geek stuff. If you know what it means, we report it. If you don't, you probably don't care, which is why this is generally kept as closed. The most important thing is it in use or is it recoverable? If it's recoverable, you can get rid of it. And if you are looking at something that's got a really big number being in use, go and take a look at it and try and figure out, is the data type correct for what you're working with? Or can you switch it into something that is more efficient, like a whole number type data set or data point? So this is how we can go and generate our memory usage reports, try and figure out the things that matter and get rid of the things that don't, and see what kind of an impact it has. Just be aware on this, Power Pivot does have 2 states of memory. When the file is saved, it actually runs a compressed version. When you are actually running it, it actually opens up a little bit more expanded version. So before you go and actually start running your memory reports, it's not a bad idea to do a refresh and make sure that Power Pivot is in its active mode so that you're getting the appropriate look at it, because you don't care what it looks like when it's compressed on disk. What you care about is what it looks like when you're actively running it. Thanks for watching this episode of Using Monkey Tools. To get your own monkey, visit our website at monkeytools.ca. Or if you subscribe to Skillwave's Self-Service Business Intelligence Academy, you'll get a free annual pro license included with your subscription. And remember, Monkey Tools was developed to support better Excel and Power BI solutions. If you want to learn how to really master these tools, you should definitely check out our full course catalog at skillwave.training.